I've never heard a guy, I'm not familiar with the ins and outs, but the way you talk the game, the stem, the eyes, the this, the that, it's like you've taken it to another. Where did you learn that approach?
I guess I learned everything from experience, but every foundation was always built for Coach Hazel. Coach Hazel, he changed my life and how he approaches the game and how he got me thinking, and so I try to do the same with these guys. I had the same approach. Hopefully, he would agree. I'm trying to take it to another level, but again, combination of what Coach Hazel taught me, what he taught Coach, what he taught Ted Ginn and Santonio Holmes, and you go down the list, Anthony Gonzalez, myself, and then with things I learned over the last 10 years, and I added to it, and so that's kind of the philosophy.
Brian,
how different does it feel to not have those three veterans right now?
Oh yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, that's why when they left, I cried literally. So, one. From a culture standpoint and a relationship standpoint, like how we've gotten to know each other, and I'm sure I'm going to do it again this year, but we're developing right now, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you try to take yourself back to where we were last spring when Dwayne was coming in and those guys were trying to enhance and come into the last year, very similar to some guys I have now, I feel like we're really far ahead. We're doing a really good job. We're doing a lot of really good things, and we're only going to get better. So right now we're developing our culture in our room and seeing really who's going to step up.
When I asked you about that at the Rose Bowl, you included CJ. Group. What can you expect from him? It seems like I've been talking about him for years.
CJ Saunders does a phenomenal job. I mean, to me, he is a guy that I use as an example a lot. Whether it be taking tests in our room, whether it be overall effort in our room, he does a great job of just. It's really hard for me to find a bad clip on film. It's really hard for me to find lack of effort on a test. And I don't try to. It's not like I'm trying to put him on a pedestal, but then I can grab his test and put it on the overhead and be like, all right, let me grab somebody else's test, and then nobody wants to put their test up there. So that's the expectation. Our expectation is to be different, be the best in the room, be the best on the field, and all the time trying to be great. But I didn't tell guys how hard to go all the time. I can't find a half-speed rep for CJ Saunders on film. It's impossible. So, again, he's really doing a great job leading the room by example. Needs some more guys to still step up and command, but we're doing a really good job.
Brian, a year ago at this time, I feel like you were in this, maybe not even a year ago, in this interim prove-yourself position, but between the way that those receivers produced last year and some of the guys you've been bringing in recruiting, I mean, do you feel like you've gotten off to the fast start that it seems like?
I just am focused on doing my part, and then what does that mean? I mean, to me, I don't just limit that maybe in my room. I love getting relationships with the DBs and the D linemen and really getting to know everybody on the team. So that's really my only approach. I think it helps within the room, outside the room, but I'm really not focused on how necessarily I'm doing per se. I'm just really worried about the guys in the room and how personally maybe I can do better and how I can add more value to our team and our staff. That's
Are you looking for 3 or 4 starters? Are you looking at depth, all of the above?
I'm not really looking at anything. I think that the film's going to tell me what I need to do. And in the end, I'm responsive. Best players play. We always know that, but truly, best players play. And then based on what they've earned through their film, we'll just see how time goes. Understand now, we're an up-tempo offense. Yep. So we need guys. We need depth. We're going to roll guys because in the end, we just can't play fast unless we have legs. So, the more guys, the better. And, again, I mean, the weakest link idea is always the case, So whether you're, quote-unquote, the first guy in the room or, quote-unquote, the 15th guy in the room, everyone's going to get coached and be expected to excel at the very top.
Brian, what's the timeline like for, finding who is going to be your main guys? Are you trying to figure out who your main guys are going to be by spring, or are you just kind of trying to see where everybody's at and then go into
Right now, we're trying to get as many reps and many looks as possible, get as much good tape on film, and coach off the tape. And that's the best way. That's our best coaching tool, and we try to get as much of that done as possible.
Through 7 practices, who's caught your eye?
Say it again?
Through 7 practices, who's caught your eye? I mean, who's kind of surprised
you? It's more for me, it's probably the most improved, guys that are taking steps. It's not that, once you're at 99% of your capacity, getting that last 1% is really hard. Austin Mack, he's working on his details. It's really hard versus a guy that maybe hasn't earned time yet, that really just got to get going, is really making a good jump. So we have some guys like that, and we have some guys that are really, I'm really happy with the room right now, especially effort, and today was one of our better practices.
Has Wilson been has he taken to it like you thought he would? I mean, what's your take on him?
My best compliment to him, I told him, I was like, you don't act like a freshman. When he first got in, he'll tell you, it was kind of a culture change. The kids should still be in high school. And he's just doing a phenomenal job. Whether I'm throwing him at Z, at X, his mental retention's really good. He really wants to learn from the guys. He's buying into the culture. So everything he's doing right now is on the right track, and I'm excited for him to continue to take small steps.
How's Austin setback for Cam coming back?
Really good. Day one of spring till now, it's been a steady improvement. It's been great.
Brian, this setback for Cam, how tough is that? You guys wanted to see him out here this spring.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because one, he's such a great guy, and you want guys to earn things, but he's attacked it the right way, whether it be the weight room or academics and studying and being in my hip, and he really is a great young man from a great family. So if anyone can weather the storm, it's him. But it is a blow to our unit because I think he adds a lot of value to our room. Yes.
We also saw what Chris Olave did at the end of the season. What is the biggest thing you wanted him to improve on so far in the spring, and where is he at in that track?
Yeah, to me, I always talk to the guys, man. I mean, in the end, greatness is only measured one way, and it's by consistency. Everyone makes, and again, I say it a lot, and I'll say it to you guys, everyone makes the same shot that Michael Jordan makes. They just don't make it as consistently. They don't make it, at the crunch times, so everyone can do it. But the question is, how often can you do it? So challenging his consistency, challenging how dominant he can be when the ball's in the air, how often is it yours versus it being knocked down or you're covered. So again, his level of consistency will change whether he's a good player or he's a great player.
How close is he getting to that? Or is it something that's going to take a long time?
It takes a long time. People work for years to become as consistent as possible, but he's on the right track.
What kind of strides have you seen from Jalen Gill so far?
Great strides. He's one of the guys that I've made probably the biggest jumps. He's playing fast. He's in my hip. He wants to learn and learn. He's doing a great job with his academics off the field. So, there's still things we got to clean up, and he knows that, and we'll keep that between us. But in the end, he's doing a great job on the field, and I'm excited for him.
Obviously, you had a couple guys in Harris and Terry who could really make a lot of big plays for this offense last year. Who do you think are the guys who can kind of step up and fill those roles and kind of be big play guys?
I think they all can. I don't think there's one guy that can't make those plays. They're all fast, they're all strong, they're all working hard. So it's about, at some point, at the point in time, it's who's going to make those plays when they have the opportunity, and we're going to find out. In the end, right now, it's all about reps, how many reps, how often are we executing, and can we do it day in and day out.
Brian said Austin's at Z now. How is he handling that?
Yeah, it's great. It's smart. He's able to make that transition because, in the end, I would need to get the best three guys on the field at all times. So to have Ben and Austin in the same position, that doesn't help anybody. So moving Austin over there, get three seniors on the field and play ball was good.
We don't talk about KJ Hill enough, I don't think.
Nope.
So feel free. What does he do for this room? He just seems like a calming influence for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he doesn't do. So, to me, he's not going to be a Paris Campbell burner, but there's a lot of things that he does that Paris maybe didn't do. And he's being a great leader. He's growing up, and I think that, it's an absolute pleasure, and we are blessed to have him back this year. And I'm glad that he came back to not only lead this group, stay on my hip, and just get better. So KJ Hill is a phenomenal spot, and he's a staple right now in our receiver room.
And it's always fun, I'm sure, for you to see guys go to the NFL and get drafted. When he came back, was there a little...
Yeah, of course. But I think it was the best thing for him. So it wasn't just like, I tricked a guy. It's not the way it was. It's like it was the best thing for him. And now this last year to make that next step and get outside and learn the outside route tree and really what do the guys do on the outside that he never really does on the inside. Working those skills will be huge for him. And he's doing a phenomenal job, both leading by example and communicate with the guys.
Hey, Brian, forgive me if I'm talking out of turn.
You are.
I'm just remembering it wrong. But when you left for the NFL, I think people were surprised that you went a year early.
Oh, that's true.
So, being
you guys. Most maybe other.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't involved in the decision. No, what do you remember about that? And does that give you a unique perspective when you're talking to a guy like him?
Yeah, for me it was I had my blessings of my coaches, and that's what I needed. I didn't need any blessings from anybody outside the building. My family really wasn't involved. It was just like, hey, Brian, you can kind of pick your own choice. But in the end, I think that was the main part for me. And I graduated. That was a big part of the discussion. But KJ is completely different. He's a better player. And I think that in the end, the skill set he wanted to work on is why he came back. And again, we're very blessed to have him.
If you had to pick a hands guy right now, who would it be?
A hands guy?
Yeah, a hands guy.
Best hands?
Yeah, reliability guy.
KJ Hill's got probably the best hands I've seen in a long time. So that ball's near him, it's eaten up, and he's done a great job with it. And as long as he stays locked in and go, because the only drops he had last year was just because maybe it was late in the game and he was frustrated and he let it get to him mentally. But he's got great ball skills.
When you talk about consistency, is that reliability too?
Of course. Of course. In the end, the most consistent, usually the most reliable. When the game comes down to it, you have that feeling, where do you want the ball to go and who do you want on the field? and KJ's at the top of the list.
Brian, you talked about how there's so many players in this room that you feel like can step in and play. You know, how much do you evaluate the depth chart practice by practice, or are you just kind of evaluating guys throughout the spring and then kind of, you know,
it's a daily
make
evaluation.
Decisions at the end
it's a daily. I obviously taking notice of the depth chart when it comes to recruiting, but in the end, day to day, making sure these guys are healthy. I mean, I'm a really good coach when my best players on the field. But so to me, it's my job to make sure that I protect them from themselves. You have a lot of guys, every guy really, that when I ask them to go, they go. So if I ask them to go too many times, something's going to give sometimes. So I got to make sure I'm gathering information on their body, how they feel, what's tight, what's not, and then sometimes I adjust reps based on that, just so we can keep guys healthy.
I don't know if you didn't ask about Ben Victor. Consistency has been the issue. Have you seen that develop this spring?
It's coming. It's coming. It still needs to get better. It's the best it's ever been. But he knows, and he's now developed into a harder critic or a harder evaluator on himself than me. So he'll tell you the same thing, but we can never be good enough. But it's coming, and he has to keep getting better.
I mean, again, you lost 3 senior captains. It's hard to do and not drop off. But I know what the talent is in the room, and the standard is set. How confident are you that the production from that unit will be as good or better than it was last year?
Oh, very good. You know, to me, it'll be all based. It'll be based on opportunities, how we're going. I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be some things we're probably doing a little different than we did last year, just like anything. You know, our offense is always geared to our skill set and what our skill set is best throughout the board, whether it be the O-line, the quarterback, or running back, and ourselves. So, offense, you know, fundamentally could maybe be tweaked a little bit, but execution-wise, there can be opportunities, and I'm very confident in our group.
Obviously, those receivers have had to build rapport with new quarterbacks this year, and Justin and Matt. How much have you seen that rapport, that chemistry grow?
Oh, it's great. I mean, a lot of the credit is to the quarterbacks. I mean, they've done a great job reaching out to us, and again, it's a two-way conversation. So we've done a great job reaching back, and I think that that's continued to grow. Like I said, back to last spring, when we kind of had a new quarterback stepping in. The growth we had from spring to fall was paramount, and we have to add that again, but I think we're on a really good track.
Brian, a guy like Jalen Harris is entering his 3rd year here. Where does he fit into the rotation? What does he need to improve on going into that 3rd year?
Same thing. Every guy in our room can do it, you know, once. But it's like, which guys do it either every time, every now and then, or like, so where do you fall? So to me, you keep chasing that every time word, and you continue to execute when the ball's in the air your way, and when the ball's not in your way, how often are you open? Would you have been able to catch the ball? So, again, it's never good enough. We're always getting better, but again, he's on a good track too. And I think that in our room, I'm really, really excited come through summer and fall and the work we've done so far in spring.
Has his development allowed the Austin Mack move to be like easier for you?
Yeah, it helps definitely. I think that says a lot about it. If maybe I didn't feel like the number 2 guy or the next guy up or in tempo who am I subbing with, you know, if I didn't feel good about Jalen Harris, it'd be hard to make that move. But with Jalen Harris and how he's coming, that's just a great example of why I feel comfortable moving Austin.
From a practical standpoint, how different are X and Z? Because I don't know how common it is to have a guy that you can move. Like you did Austin.
Yeah, there's some different things, but I think he was the best guy, the most, you know, the versatile, can do different things. I wouldn't overlook exactly that. We go tempo, you stay on your side, you can run both routes. So there's a little bit there, but in the end, it's very similar. And in the end, my mindset was purely lots of reps, learn an opportunity through spring, and get my seniors on the field, to start spring. That was really my only focus, not necessarily who's the best guy to move. One, am I? With having the depth of Jalen Harris and those guys, and 2, who should I move? That was it. It wasn't a long thought-out decision.
That H position under Coach Meyer started much more of a hybrid. Guys are getting carries and stuff.
Yep.
Last couple of years, it's been a lot more of a slot receiver.
Yep.
How do you see it progressing, and does that depend on personnel?
No, I think a lot of what we're doing right now is last year's what we're going to do the same as this year. It is a hybrid. It's still a guy we want to hand the ball off and get speed sweeps and get things going with. But with our offense, we're able to move guys around pretty seamlessly and really, if you want the inside guy to go out, outside to go in, like we did last year, it's pretty easy for us to do. But you're right, it's more of a slot receiver. You're a receiver first, and maybe a hand off a running back's, you know, second or third. So
and that is a change, right? I mean, I know you weren't
not the last year, but maybe since, you know, earlier on, yeah, maybe. But that's kind of where we're at. I don't think that's going to change.
Did that just happen because of the kind of guys you were bringing
Correct.
in?
I mean, I think in the end, it's geared off your personnel. You know, what are we really good at? You know, and what are the players really good at? Now, our job as coaches is to put them in position to be successful. So, if they're really good at it, great, enhance. If they're not, is it worth the time to make them better? to do it, or is it not? Let's move forward. So those are conversations we have constantly, day in and day out.
Brian, how are these guys as blockers?
Really good. I think a lot of times, not as dominant, I would say, as a Terry McLaurin, but the overall challenge going into spring and understanding that we are replacing that, I think there's a chip on their shoulder. So they've been doing a great job with it. We can always get better. But, in the end, more times than not, they're blocking for the young guy in their room. They're blocking for KJ or CJ or Chris. So we're going to take a lot of ownership in that year in and year out, and continue to get better at it.
How much have you seen the older guys like KJ and Austin and Ben really step up as leaders in the room, having to fill those?
We're still getting better at it. I wouldn't say, at this point where we want to be come fall. It's spring, so we're okay with that. But in the end, I think they're doing a really good job of leading by example first. They haven't really maybe stepped out of their comfort zone and maybe barked at anybody and got things going that way yet. But that comes with time, and I think they've done a great job first and foremost. Being leaders, showing by example, so I'm really happy with that.
How do you feel about the depth? Do you like the depth? You wish you had a couple more guys?
Great, I think it's great. Oh yeah, I wish I had 12 more guys. Yeah. No, it's great. I think I love the depth. I love bringing Jamison Williams. They'll be coming in the summer. But overall, the guys are working really hard, and that's all I can ask, especially in spring. I'm really excited for them. We're staying pretty healthy, knock on wood. But overall, losing a guy like Cam was not great for us, and that did hurt us. But the guys that are here are working really hard, and that's all you can really ask. And really in the end, we can only control what we can control. So we're going to move forward. But it was a blow. But the depth-wise, I'm happy with the guys. They're doing a great job.
You played receiver. You played receiver. Sure. How different is it depending who the quarterback is? How the ball comes to you? Is that an adjustment?
It's different. It's not an excuse or a reason for anything other than, so I understand it's different, but we don't have that situation right now. We're good there. Justin's field is his ball and is a little hotter than Matt's, but Matt throws a good ball too, but and that's not even the person that's playing. I mean, through the depth chart, they're all different balls, so different spin to it, different velocity, so I think naturally as receivers you kind of know who you got, and be alert for a hot ball. But in the end, they all throw it really well.
Coming off Dwayne, even.
Yeah, it's hot, no doubt. He's got a quick ball too, and so again, he was different than Tate last year and different than Matt. So it's always different, So
they just have to adjust to it.
That's it, rep to rep.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.